What's up, everybody? Welcome to CanesInSight Primetime, man. We had to do two shows this Sunday. Did a recap this morning, but had to bring my man Stevo, 365 Canes Football. You see him on Twitter. You see him on 3 Live Canes every Wednesday night. One of the best, man. One of our favorite guests. So we'll talk all things Canes over Texas A&M as we get ready for this Ohio State game. It's going to come fast. And we know, man, this is just the best time of the year. Usually we're preparing for some stupid bowl, pinstripe, Micron PC, MPC computers, whatever it is, man. Now we got real deal football to talk about on the highest stage. So we are fired up about that. Real quick before we bring Stevo on, you want to perform on the highest stage, just at your own highest level. You're playing in the backyard. University of Miami Sports Medicine Institute. If you consider yourself an athlete or just an active person, you probably know how hard it is to sit on the injury list with pain or injury. Maybe even try to hack your own rehab, come back earlier. But if compromising your movement or performance is not an option, call the experts at the University of Miami Sports Medicine Institute. Whether it's elite competition with Miami Hurricanes athletics or everyday movement, the University of Miami Sports Medicine Institute is the trusted choice for those who demand excellence. Set an appointment today at uhealthsports.com. All right, without further ado, let's bring him in, man. One himself, Stevo. What's going on?
Yes, sir. Throw them U's up, baby.
Yeah, man, fired up, brother. This is a fun one today. You said it before we went on. The grass a little greener, the birds chirping a little prettier, stopping and smelling the roses, man. How's it been on this Victory Sunday?
I mean, it was great since, I don't know, it feels like it's been forever since the game, since we played so early yesterday. Usually we're waiting for the big game, night game or something like that. Get it over by 3:30. So it's kind of been settling in, but it's just been awesome, man. Everything you do is just fine and dandy when you're in the playoffs and just advancing further and further into the playoffs. I'm sitting there watching, like, go ahead, JMU, put up some points. Good for y'all. I'm just happy about everything. There's nothing that could disappoint me. The Dolphins laid an egg today, and I couldn't care less.
Yeah, you had some time to sit on it, man. I flew across the country, goes to the Von Donaldson and says, D looks like he's smoking on that A&M pack, man. That's called no sleep. It's waking up early, going to church, doing a show, and running around. But, yeah, man, definitely still feeling on cloud nine like you, Stevo. So, listen, we broke it down earlier, but I want to get your overall take on just what you saw watching the game, your big takeaways. Obviously, we're happy, we're excited, but just football-wise, what's your big takeaway watching that game yesterday?
Yeah, any win is a win in the playoff game. You're going to take it. But I've said it multiple times on the show and others is, Mario built this football team, this roster for playoff football, and we saw that. The physicality from every single person who lines up out there. You do not get a single snap if you cannot bring that intensity and physicality that is demanded. We have nickel corners out there like Keontae Scott laying the wood, chasing. There's no missed tackles. There's a lot of these 5 yard, 6 yard. Hey, they might get 8 yards in a first down, or damn, they just barely get the first down. But those are first man is not missing. They're coming up with open field tackles. So the defense, obviously, look, I'll just get that out of the way quickly. They played out of their minds. Did they have to worry about the pass game as much? Probably not throughout the game. It was a lot of excessive wind, but they were locked in. We bullied Texas A&M for 4 quarters, and my biggest takeaway is this roster is even getting healthier, and it looked like there's nobody in this country that can intimidate us at the line of scrimmage.
No, and look, Ohio State will break that matchup down, but they are not immune right up front. They got some, I'll say they have issues. They have a good offensive line, but so did Texas A&M, and you saw what happened there. I want to get to this one because being their field level, I said it earlier in the show, I cannot overstate how much the wind impacted the game just from me watching it. I wasn't on the field as far as playing, but just watching it and seeing that wind and feeling it. It was not one direction, another direction. Hey, we're going with it, we're going against it. I mean, it was like tornadoes in there. There was a lot of different directions. The ball was going in crazy, crazy rotations and spin. You, who are a receiver by trade, you've seen balls flying in this nice, Miami humid air here. Footballs flying, catching them. When you add the wind to the equation, what changes?
I mean, it's like a lot of people are down here. If you ever played basketball on the beach and you hit that jump shot and it looked like it's about to go swing through the net, and the next thing you know, air ball because that wind is going to carry you. And if you guys know, at college balls are pretty much high school balls, and they don't go through the wind as good as an NFL ball does. They don't have that sturdiness, and the tip isn't as long, so it doesn't pierce through air as much. But it is hard because the quarterback has no confidence when he's letting that ball go. Because in the back of his mind, he's wondering, "Hey, is this going to sail on me and go, for an interception?" So we have that to go through. So it's just pass catching wise, pass throwing wise, it's just not ideal when it's like that. When the wind is going in one general direction and you can kind of learn to adapt with it. But when it's going this way and this way, like before the game kicked off, when they were doing the charity kick, the guy had it square down the middle twice, and it just straight up each time. So the wind was definitely a factor. So the passing game, I knew it was going to be kind of limited. And then in the fourth quarter, they got on that little roll. 2-minute drill, passing the ball. Those were all quick, short throws to the sideline with the ball being low, so it doesn't have to be in the air where that's when it gets, drifted from. But yeah, overall, just we're loaded. We could play with anybody in the country on the offensive line and defensive line. That's just my biggest takeaway. We have freshman players playing out of their mind. I told everybody Bryce Fitzgerald was going to lead us in interceptions as a freshman. They thought I was glazing. It's just what it is.
Yeah, I live on the beach, so I've had those moments a lot. I think those might be just bad shots, and I'm telling myself it's the win sometimes, but, it definitely is a factor. At least it gets in your head, right? But I want to talk about Bryce Fitzgerald because Team Raw guy, Raw Miami, so you've been around him up close. We've been talking about him on the show. A lot of Raw Miami guys here between Malachi and Bryce Fitzgerald, but I couldn't believe this stat when I looked it up, but it's true. You guys can look it up yourself. Bryce Fitzgerald is the number one interceptions in the country, Power 4 level. Like, talking about not freshman, overall with 6 INTs. The only person that has more is this guy at Louisiana Tech has 7. So maybe he'll beat the whole FBS after this Ohio State game. But I think we got to start talking about this guy the way we talk about Malachi Toney as a superstar on the rise in college football, because the things he's doing, not just ball hawking, but fluidity, speed-wise, this is not normal stuff we're talking about here.
Yeah, they said it was glazed when I said, and I was biased because he played on the 7x7 team he coached and all this, but I told you guys, he was probably one of the best athletes I've ever been around, just totally gifted with his ball skills, his fluidity. People really don't understand how elite he was at nickel corner when Scott was down. And he's got 6 interceptions on very limited snaps for people who are getting that amount of interceptions. When he's a full-time starter, he can get 10, 12. It's going to be bad for people because he has half the defensive snaps, if that. Especially early, he was getting his teeth wet just on third downs. So most of his snaps have come in the back end of the season. So if he would have had more opportunities, you're probably getting more interceptions, to be honest with you, because it's just a matter of time before he plucks one out the air.
Yeah, the last one, man coverage, right? So it's not like he's just, sometimes you've seen these guys that are just ball hawks and, they got their eyes on the quarterback. Maybe they gamble, right? And they do it that way. And they're lacking in some of the other areas. But this guy, it's not like he's just like some dude trying to rack up interceptions, getting burned. I mean, he is just a cover savant. Like, it's not just the interceptions, right, that he's impacted the game.
Yeah, no, somebody's making noise. Okay, we go put Bryce on them. That's what you do, because he can cover press, he can cover off man, he can cover deep over the top. It's going to be nice. And Julian Saint's definitely aware of him. He used to always ask me to, put him in on offense. So he's
stop there. I want to ask you about that one. That was you anticipated my next question. So let me get some context to the listeners. So Julian Saint, starting quarterback for Ohio State, was actually a Raw Miami player as well. So talk about him a little bit, just get what you were getting into and just your experience with the player.
With Julian, I mean, he was lights out. Obviously, people know that video that came out on his visit there. So that was some wild times. But just speaking about Julian, I mean, we knew I was like, damn, this is what 5-star quarterbacks look like when after the trial, because we did like a little, kind of really knew the team was. We had like a mini makeshift practice session, and I'm just watching the ball leave his hands, and there's just a line of receivers, and we all just look like this. we're just watching every single pass, and I'm just like, yo, the ball is just he couldn't go over there and hand the people the ball better. And I was like, oh yeah, that's what a 5-star quarterback looked like, just flipping it, making all the effortless throws. But he's a competitor. But yeah, he's definitely familiar with Bryce because he would ask for that boy to come play on offense for another weapon for him because he loved his speed and ball skills. So I'm pretty sure he's going to be aware of 13. Hopefully 13 still gets him. But it'll be nice. It'll be a nice little chess match between those two. He's going to be definitely aware.
Yeah, Keontae Scott, I want to talk about him. Have you ever had turf toe or any kind of foot injury in your career?
Nah, thank the Lord. But turf toe, it is the friendliest name for something that is not a good injury. Like people say, oh, it's turf toe because it just doesn't sound like bad. Like, yo, that is like one of the worst things you could do as like a skilled position, especially like if you're a receiver, a DB, and you're relying on stopping. You're putting so much force and impact on your feet. You have to understand that your entire foot from your toes to your heel is absorbing that. So when you get turf toe and it's your ligaments and it look like you got a baseball under your toenail and you can't step and you're like, I can't even get out of bed. I mean, that's a horrible injury. People just because of the way it sounds, people just dismiss it.
Yeah, no, it's I'm surprised I heard I have to look at his snap total. I heard before the game it was gonna be like 30. It felt like more because he had 2 sacks, 3 tackles for loss. If that was a 30, that was the loudest 30 I've ever seen. But I mean, he definitely made it count whenever he was in there.
He was probably relative to that because they had before Thomas went down and Poison went down, they had Bryce playing some nickel snaps. They had Bobby Pruitt in there playing a lot of nickel snaps. So I don't know. He probably got 30, but I don't know how much more he got because Pruitt he probably got 12 to 15 snaps. Bryce probably had around the same amount in the nickel, and then just primarily deep once Poison went down, and once he got back in, Thomas went down, who looked a little woozy. So hopefully he can get him back.
Mark Fletcher, someone about, you're a Broward guy. I've always been just a staunch fan of his, defender of his. People were like, oh, we need to we were always trying to get him off the field for some reason. I'm trying to get him on the field, whether he's running, blocking. I mean, when he's on the field, good things tend to happen. I think he'd probably play defense and be a great defensive player. But, for those who have only seen him at the Canes, you've followed this guy. He's a youth football legend. Like, you've known about him for a while. Just tell me about what your view and experiences with Mark Fletcher before, what he did obviously on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, his cousin Stevie B used to always tell me about him. And you see him in Little League, and now Little League exposure is on an all-time high due to social media. So even if you're not at the games, you're kind of seeing it, and the people from the parks are telling you. And I'm just like, okay, I mean, you hear nothing but great things. And then I had a little cousin who was playing at Heritage, playing safety, and then you see Mark out there as a freshman. And when I talk about he is manhandling Chaminade, he's going against, it's him and Thad Franklin. And Thad, this was probably the game that sold every college on Thad. Like, he was dominant for his Heritage this game. And Mark was going toe for toe with him, pound for pound with him, running people over, hurdling people. A lot of people always sleep on Mark's hands. He has good hands, soft hands. He can catch out of the backfield, made a big play on a wheel route on this game. But, yeah, just burst onto the scene. And it's just unstoppable. When he hits that hole, you seen that pistol set that we were rocking a lot, and you can see Mark get downfield. There's like a thing in the fan base where they thought Mark was slow. Like, I get it. He's the 6'2", 225-pound back. Their original, he's the Thunder, Pringle's the Lightning. We're not going to argue that Pringle's not faster than him. Duh, we know that. He's the speed in the backfield, but that does not mean Mark is not slow. And then how much yards did he get after contact going downfield, dragging that guy? Like, bro. Like 10, 15 plus extra. Like, he is moving. He's a Mack truck.
Yeah, I feel like these big games where you're playing opponents that have NFL players, NFL bodies, like, you can't show up to that kind of game weak. Like, I'll give you an example, like Pitt, right? So Pitt was scoring all over the place on everybody. And then they go play Miami, and you show up with this running back, number 25, who's like, look, a fast guy, but physically – he wasn't ready for what, Miami was bringing to him. A guy that size is not going to do much against Miami unless you really scheme it up for him. Games like this, like, you need those big boys to just go right at you and be able to match up, right?
Yeah, it comes about like their mental psyche when they get pounded. Can they take that and withstand that and then just dish it back out? Mark's never going to just take that. If you get a good lick on Mark, which, we haven't seen much throughout his career here, but best believe he's coming back for you.
And it's not just the running, it's the pass blocking he was lead blocking, which I'd love to see him lead block more. Cause I think the guy, like I say, he'd be the best fullback. I don't say it like he can't play tailback and it's an insult, like he's going to be Alec Ingold, right? Or someone that can't run. Like, obviously we know he can run. He just ran for 170. I think he ran for 160 something in the second half of a playoff game. So we know he can run. But when he's playing fullback, he is a problem, man. And he lead blocking for Malley on that touchdown. You watch that replay, he sends the guy flying, and then he points to him. He didn't even celebrate. Before he celebrated, he had to clown the guy that he just sent flying. Like, he can lead block with the best of them.
Yeah, right before that play, you see Mark go up and hug Malley, and then they get out of the huddle. So I'm telling my parents, I'm like, yo, it's going to Malley. It's going to Malley. Watch this. And of course it does, because you see Mark was consoling him the whole time to go out there and make that block. And big boy, man, he's the ultimate team player. I'm just so happy we don't have to deal with that segment of the fan base no more, because that was probably one of the weirdest hates of all time, like the Fletcher thing, especially when Pringle started popping and it was just like, oh my God, throw him to the trash or the wolves. And I was just like, it's 2025. It's good to have 3 running backs, 2, 4, 3, whatever, but just more than one is what you need. But super happy for Mark, for him to do what he wants. His mom's on camera. His family's going crazy. This is why they signed and bought into the staff. When Coach Mario Cristobal sat in that living room and told him, hey, don't go to Ohio State, come to Miami, because you're going to play in these big games and we're going to lean on you. To be honest, 17 carries was light for me. I thought I thought we threw the ball a little too much. There was a couple of trick plays that we could have just scrapped. And I don't mind the just straight up, Malley Wildcat runs, because I'll take those all day with numbers. But a couple of those that Keelan Marion end around reverse, I could have just handed that to Mark. I would have been fine. Like, I think 20 carries would have been a nice thing to get to. But man, this is awesome, man. Mark deserves all the love. This is why he came to Miami. This is what Coach Cristobal promised, and he's delivering on it. These are big hometown recruits. Bryce Fitzgerald stayed home. He could lead the country in interceptions anywhere he went. He's that special. Malley could be doing what he's doing anywhere he went. He's that special. Ruben Bain could be doing this anywhere he went. He's that special. These are guys that stayed home, bought into the program, lived through that terrible 2022 season, and then stayed with it 2023, even though it was ups and downs, mostly downs to end it. Fell flat on the back end of the season last year. A lot of people thought we underachieved, all of us included, if you're a Canes fan. Then now this year to put it all together and not just get to the dance, but win the first game. You know how hard these aren't regular playoff games. These are home field advantage playoff games. You cannot underestimate that. I mean, that is huge, going to somebody's crib and sending them home in front of 105,000 of their fans. That's just big time.
Yeah, shout out to Johnny Lagoon. I know he was missing that game for his baby's baptism. Welcome to the family, baby Lagoon. Got some good blessings going our way there with the win. But you talked about all the guys that stayed home, right? Between Fletcher, Tony, Ruben Bain, Bryce Fitzgerald. I got another one for you. And I know he was banged up yesterday, but man, if Ahmad Moden would have gone to Oklahoma or would have gone to Oregon, 2 other teams in this tournament, we would be sick watching that guy, assuming he progressed the way that he has here under Damian Lewis. But that dude, and really the whole defensive tackle room, I think we talk about Justin Scott, Moten, Blay was back making some plays, and then Armando Blunt.
Another encroachment. He got to work on that, bro. It's too much this year. And he made plays, but man, that's too much. Watch the damn ball.
Yeah, and he's the veteran too, right? But that's going to be something he needs to work on. But Armando Blunt, his penalty I thought was BS. The guy flopped big time there at the end of the game. But man, his quickness and his ability to get in the backfield is impressive. But just this defensive tackle room. I know we talk so much about the defensive ends, and rightfully so, they're the best in the country. But I think our defensive tackles, I'm just looking around. Ohio State's got a big one. They got that big run stopper, McDonald. We're going to deal with him this week. That's going to be a tough one. But I'm not sure that Miami – yeah, he's a first rounder. But I'm not sure Miami – their D tackles, talking about 1 through 4, when you throw Blunt in there, we don't have the best defensive tackles in the tournament, man. These guys can play.
Yeah, and they provide versatility. There's not much you get these big, you can't kick that Ohio State cat out to the edge like you can with Blunt, like you can with Moten. Moten could legit be a strong side defensive end for you in spurts. So that's just the athleticism we have on D line. Another kid that stayed home, like you said. And then same thing with Blunt. It's great. The one thing I want them to scrap though is the we won't have to worry about that for Ohio State, but the Marquise Lightfoot, like spy. I think we need to scratch that. And it's not a discount to him, but you're 6'5", 250, trying to make these plays in the open field. I don't think that's just putting you in the best position possible. I'd rather you be the one going after the quarterback. So I think they need to scrap that. But other than that, the defensive line is playing outside of their minds. I wouldn't be surprised when Heatherman, the way they're propping him up, I'm like, yo, y'all never talk our coaches up this good. They want him to leave Miami, the way they talk about Heatherman. But, I mean, it's well-deserved, but still. I mean, I can't imagine this defense playing the way it is for more than 2 years and him not getting a head coaching job somewhere, especially when you're competing for national titles. Think about it. This playoff list of teams, like half the team's coaches are somewhere else or head coaches somewhere else because, they're got their teams to the playoffs. So that's kind of how that goes. So I would expect Jason Taylor to be coming down the pipeline as potentially a defensive line coach, co-DC soon. When Heatherman's probably on his way out just doing interviews and then eventually getting that whole gig, because I don't know how you let that guy leave the building.
Yeah, almost 1,200 on live already, man. This is going to be a crazy show. I can already tell. Yeah, Lightfoot made an awesome tackle there, as Wamamo Ventura points out, an ankle tackle. But I agree with you, Stevo. 6'5", breaking down the open field, that's tough. We saw Keontae Scott, what he was doing in the open field. I think really the last few weeks we've seen those defensive backs do a lot of damage, particularly that Pitt game. I thought the defensive backs really, really messed with Heinzel. I like having defensive backs deal with these mobile quarterbacks because they can chase them. Unless it's a Tebow or a Cam, they should be able to get them down most of the time, and they can change directions on them.
Yeah, I like physical, hard-nosed DBs going after them. Obviously, we have athletic linebackers. Touré's not a statue. Wesley's not a statue, but you still like the Keontae Scotts. You like the Bryce Fitzgerald or the Jacoby Thomases or the Poisers, and it just coincides with some of those are our best one-on-one tacklers. I mean, I don't know if there's a better tackler than Poiser on the team. To be honest with you, I think he's probably the best tackler on the team. In the open field, there you can maybe argue Jacoby Thomas because he's probably only whiffed on one or two. And then our cornerback room, they got some good tacklers: Damari Brown, Ethan O'Connor. That's probably been the best development for him is his physicality on tape. So that's definitely put another element to his game with the way he's been playing super physical. He had plenty of coverage tape at Washington State, but he definitely showed up big time on the edge for us. There's some physical DBs that always take one to spy instead of dropping a D lineman, which is I don't mind the flats drops with him. He's had a couple of success. He's also made plays in the open field. I just don't think when you're dropping him completely into the middle and now he's playing one-on-one and the quarterback has the direction, he can go left, he can go right. I think that's just putting him when he's chasing a quarterback to the sideline. Good luck. But when your quarterback's in the alley, I think that's just a lot on him. 6'5", 250. You're going after a 5'10", 190 scat back type quarterback. That's just tough. We won't have to deal with that versus Julian saying he's very much a pocket passer. He's not a statue. He can move, but he's more relative to Brad Kaya than he is Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, he reminds me a little bit of not as athletic, but he reminds me of Bryce Young a little bit. Bryce Young can move more than he can, but just like a guy that's not the biggest guy, but is going to do everything textbook and deliver the ball accurately and be smart with it. That's who he kind of reminds me of is a California guy, Yeah,
he just doesn't make mistakes with his mechanics, and that's what hurts because he's not going to have those just inaccurate just to be inaccurate. Like he might miss the throw. Obviously, he's human. But his mechanics are usually really spot on, and then his arm talent takes over when sometimes his feet doesn't have to be set. For some of these deep balls, he's just throwing down there to Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate. Like sometimes he just does not have to get his feet set. He could just put it on it straight arm talent and put it 50 on a laser. So that's just something we got to watch for because getting close to him and, getting him rattled is going to be big, but getting close to him is not going to be enough because if he can get the ball out, he's going to get it out accurately.
Yeah, I think the size is where you can maybe hurt him a little bit because just it's if you get some bodies around him, he might not be able to see as well, right? Just because he's not the biggest guy in the world. I don't know if in the Big Ten defensive lines were getting after him like maybe Miami can, but he's a challenge, man. There's a reason why Ohio State was number one all year, and that guy was in New York. Miami Angel Share Society says according to 247 and PFF, Keontae played 57 snaps. What a stud, man! Playing 57 snaps with that.
That's more than I thought.
Me too. I heard 30 before the game. So he was playing so good they just kind of let it ride. But that wasn't like the plan, at least middle of the week, from everything I heard. Yeah, he'll appreciate you saying Teray gave up his body. He's our MVP yesterday. That was the definition of sacrificing, man, because he was out. I don't know if they showed it on TV, but he was UFC out, and he was he was ready cheering for Bryce by the end of it. So his head got back in the game immediately. He's not even worried. He wasn't even worried about his own health. The health people had to hold him back because he was getting so crazy trying to celebrate with Bryce Fitzgerald, man. So that's huge. I want to ask about really the defensive backs in general. I know we talked about Keontae Scott and Bryce Fitzgerald, but the win had played a factor in this. I get it, but I was expecting at least one, Concepcion getting loose, Craver getting loose. I know Bethel Roman caught that one ball that sailed a bit, but talk about like just a catch and break tackle, make a long run. There wasn't a lot of that, man. These guys were getting down to the ground.
Yeah, they tackled so well. There wasn't for a busted coverage between OJ and the safety. You don't know who's really at fault there, but someone is. They wouldn't have even got that one deep ball. They wouldn't have had nothing. I mean, and this is just what this defensive backfield has shown us all year, that they can play coverage. We were down to Damari Brown. We're going to need him next week, 100%, because that's who's going on JJ. Like if you guys from South Florida, you guys know that matchup is highly talked about because Damari Brown has gotten the better of those matchups, and JJ just not like that, and because people say that, people talk about it. They'd be like, yeah, but what happened with Damari? Like, like some really good tape from Damari. That's what sold, not that's what sold Miami on Damari, but I mean, I think that's what made it like, this guy has to be like, no one else could do this because Damari's just so physical, bro. He is super physical, and he's built like a linebacker when it comes to his arms. Like, you're not going to just bully him. And JJ can bully anybody. So it's not like, oh, my God, Damari gets bullied one time. He can't stick with him. But, man, we're going to need him. Him and Xavier Lucas. You guys are our 200-pound plus corners. Lucas, you run a 4.3. We're going to need you. I think Ethan O'Connor has to be on Carnell Tate. He's too smooth with his route running. I think Ethan O'Connor is our smoothest cover corner right now. OJ just has been a little off for me. He's just coming back, but I would put him in there. But right now, Ethan O'Connor is my number one cover corner. So that's who I'm putting on Carnell Tate, especially skill set for skill set.
Yeah, I want to go back to this because we're going to talk about this a lot. We got 11 days, but I want to just get back to what you're talking about with this matchup against Ohio State. But you talk about those defensive backs, overnight sensations. When you look at how we were last year, how we are this year on the back end, that doesn't happen without Canes connection. And listen to this right here. You want to know what time it is? The time is right now to contribute. So a anonymous Canes connection supporter, who I think I know who he is, and shout out to him, wants to raise it. He says, if you raise $100,000 in the next 7 days, he will match, or she, we'll keep it guessing, will match it dollar for dollar, up to $100,000 for the next 7 days. So don't wait. Time is now. Give the money now. It'll go twice as far. There's no secret what's going on here. You saw it on the field. You've seen it with the defensive backs. You've seen it in multiple positions. This is the only way it's going to get done is by making sure we keep this elite roster. That's how we keep playing in this environment. If you don't like playing in the, Hanukkah Bowls, you like playing in the real playoff games, you need to support Canes Connection to the best of your ability. And a good thing with this, they'll double up whatever you need. Go to CanesConnection.com/CIS to get access to all the member benefits. That's CanesConnection.com/CIS.
Yeah, so you want a quarterback next year.
I'm broken record. There's a lot of great candidates, but and you don't. I know you're not the one, pushing this narrative, even though he's a Broward guy. But I have a hard time not taking CJ Bailey as that. Seeing him against, I know it was a BS bowl against Memphis, but man, the way he can run, the fact that I think there's just more there as he gets more fundamentally sound and stronger. Seeing him interact with his teammates, like, better than me probably, but I always heard he was just a great guy, like a good team-oriented dude. No nonsense, no thing you got to worry about when you bring him in. Like, I don't know, man. I see a game like this where the wind's going crazy. He could have been running, or at least being a threat to run.
Yeah, I mean, we unfortunately can't claim CJ. He played up in Broward, but he's from Dade.
Oh, even better.
But he's a infectious, positive personality. He played with us 2 tournaments, and we were going through multiple quarterbacks. Didn't let it get to him when he got his chance. He got hot, and then that was it. And we respected that. He didn't want to jump in asking for anything to be handed to him. He was coming from another team. He waited for his opportunity, got it, and took it. And even when he wasn't in, he was helping out. He was just infectious energy. I don't think, and this is a weird thing to say because you talk about another guy, but he just has a nice smile, bro. Like he's always smiling. Like that's just like he's just always smiling, bro. It's just he has good energy. No matter if he comes to Miami, stays at NC State, or maybe goes somewhere else, man, I'm rooting for the kid. Like he's just one of those the kids that you root for from South Florida. You have the knuckleheads, then you have a kid with his head on his shoulders, and is making great decisions for himself, carries himself the great way, talks great in front of the media, is always helping out, giving back to the communities, does a lot of things down here in South Florida, even though he didn't, stay down here. That wasn't really even his fault, to be honest with you guys. So I'm rooting for the kid. If he would come down to Miami, I think we would give him a lot better. If you look at the NC State game, he had nowhere to go with the football all game. The defensive backfield we were just talking about to match up to 100K to pay for Case Connection. Like there was nowhere to go. And then that defensive line was crazy. You give him our offensive line and these weapons, I think he's already proved he could throw for 3,000 yards type seasons in ACC. And yeah, he does have that run threat ability. So if it does end up being CJ, I mean, I don't even think they're going to give him the job off the rip because I think at this point, Luke Nickel and Darian Coleman are going to probably be talented enough to at least get a look, whether how long that look is, that's on them. But I definitely think he would be favored to start if he came here.
Yeah, he was on the sideline, like when the game was really a blowout, and you could tell he was just laughing, yucking it up with these two walk-on guys looking like Rudy and Doogie Howser. And he was talking to them like he would talk to Jeremiah Smith, So I mean, little things like that. 26 says, who's the presenting sponsor of the daily CJ Bailey segment? Yeah, it is a daily segment out here. How about listen? This daily CJ segment is brought to you by KashKick, KashKick, one of the top apps in the country. Go to the App Store, KashKick. Give your free time a raise. You're already playing games on your phone. They consolidate them for you. You're already browsing, sharing your opinions. You can do surveys. That free time that you're already spending can earn you real money, goes right to your PayPal account. Legit app, 4.5 plus average rating, 1.5 million plus average downloads, one of the biggest in the country. It's KashKick, KashKick. They're bringing you the daily CJ Bailey segment. But let's get back to the Canes here. Canes Cat Heat 305 wants to know what's going on with Broward getting blown out by Dade. The Dade Broward All-Star game right now at Trash Powell.
Man, I don't know, man. I was gonna be going, but I had some other stuff to do today. Take care of the lady. It's been football central lately, so I said,
Smart.
you know what, let me not go. But I'm getting a lot of. I don't want to check my Instagram. I'll tell you that because I'm getting tagged. I'm in our 7-on-7 group chat. They coming at me because I've been talking crazy. But all I know is next year though, it'll be impossible for us to lose because we ain't gonna be squatted. But this year, it ain't looking too good. It ain't looking too good, y'all boys.
You got bounced out here for a second by accident. You were hosting solo, man. Did you keep these guys entertained?
Yeah, we were helping them cope or helping me cope.
but no, man. That group chat sure is hot. Let me ask you this because I've been saying this, and I don't know take it whatever direction you want, but I've been saying that in my opinion, South Florida had been down on the whole, meaning like the depth wise, the last couple of recruiting classes, like this year, last year, just on a whole, I didn't see the depth that I'm used to seeing from South Florida. I'm going out to camps where you got like everybody in one place. And I was just kind of comparing apples to apples of previous years. I wasn't seeing it the same way. Now, while I say that, I go look at the Heisman Trophy from Miami-Dade County. I look at, in my opinion, the best player in the country. Unfortunately, I hate to say it, but it would be number 4 in Ohio State, right? Top of the best freshman in the country. That's one of ours with Malachi Toney, Ruben Bain. Yeah, Bryce Fitzgerald, best defensive freshman in the country possibly, and then Ruben Bain, maybe the best defensive player in the country. So, I mean, I'm just naming
Isaac
you guys.
Brown at Louisville.
Yeah, Isaac Brown's doing his thing. I know the defensive ends like R. Mason Thomas. I saw him go to work against Alabama. Kenyatta Jackson, we'll see him here coming up, number 97 for Ohio State. But you tell me, am I crazy? I think the top end, obviously, it speaks for itself. But it seems like the depth maybe not as good.
I mean, it just depends. 2025, people say it was a down year down here. I just think that we've risen the standards so much, but I don't think anybody can say that moving forward. 27 class and 28 class down here is loaded. Like we got quarterbacks now. Like that's not something you're used to. 5-star quarterbacks down here. Neiman Norris is going to be a 5-star. Like he's already a 5-star. Like and that's not disappearing anytime soon. That's not going to be one of those he signed to Miami, so the recruiting networks dropped him. No, they didn't. It doesn't matter where he signed. He's going to be a 5-star. You're not used to seeing that. You got guys like Nick Lanier, who's like complete studs. And you got, obviously Amir Sears, probably the best athlete in the class of 2028. You got TJ, that's Tremont Isaac at Chaminade receiver. I mean, we got some young dudes. You got Sherrod at MacArthur, J4 at MacArthur. People sleep on J4. That's what commitment we need to hold on to, like grab onto him. Thankfully, he loves the Hurricanes, but he is a guy down here. People know that. Like when you talk about just, you got people who talk because they're in the high school football scene. Then you got the kids who talk in the background, and they know J4 is like that.
Yeah, Jalen Jones, instinctive player, man. He just seems like a natural. I mean, he looks like a safety, right? The safeties, you can't kind of fake the instinct part of it or coach that up, right? That is kind of is, you either have it or you don't, right? He's got that.
Yeah, I mean, instincts, but some people are just football players, but he's a football player. So it just makes me happy when you watch him because, yeah, he has instincts. He has all the intangible abilities for a safety, but just personally, he's a football player. You could tell him he need to go play DN for this game because we need you there at DN, and he's going to do it to the best of his ability and probably make a play or two. That's just the type of person he is. You need him to go play it on kickoff. He's going to run down there and hit somebody. Same thing on kick return. He'll throw that block. He'll run through, just a Mark Fletcher type of guy. Whatever it takes to win, he's gonna do it. So I like players like that got football in their DNA. They don't just like what football could do with it. They don't like the fame and the this that you can get from football. They care about just what happens in between the lines and what they put on tape. I respect that type of attitude. I think Mario Cristobal has identified those type of kids inside Florida and made those the priorities, even though some others, might be higher ranked. But he's made those type of kids with that mentality down here. Mally was a 3-star. We made him probably the biggest priority in that class.
Yeah, I mean, with good reason, right? Not getting out of South Florida, but to your point, somebody who I really identified as that, like a football player where you can put him at linebacker, you can put him at fullback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, all offseason and last season, my guy was always Elijah Lofton. And then you see the season, doesn't necessarily look in the best shape, certainly does not look healthy physically as far as injury-wise. And then maybe not blocking as physically as you hoped he would or you saw last year, having some issues catching the football, not moving as good as you might think. It seems like the receiving, we saw it the last few weeks, not so much this last game. He had the one catch that he brought in, but he's blocking better. It feels like Elijah Lofton might be starting to get a little healthier. How much do we need that kind of presence as tight end, fullback, H-back, whatever you want to call them, to take some of the pressure off these wideouts?
Yeah, because you're closest to the quarterback. Imagine just giving Beck a little fat play where you can go 5 to 10 or even bust it for a bigger gain. But let me tell you something like this. It's hard for skilled players to run routes on bum ankles, but he's not just a skill player. He's 250 pounds. That's a lot on those ankles, on that ankle. So it definitely takes a lot. He whiffed some blocks early in the season. I think that's what got him so out of favor with Bauman, because the way he whiffed a couple of those wham blocks versus Florida. He had 2 or 3. I think that's really when his snaps started going down. Worked his way back, but the last, ended the season the right way, had 3 straight touchdowns in 3 games. So it's big for us to have that option for Beck and then over the middle. Because outside of Mally underneath over the middle, we haven't really gone deep or intermediate over the middle much. So, Lofton could unlock that. Killian Marion's kind of an outside guy, really good in breaking routes, that tough slant he caught, but we just don't really use the middle of the field that much. So I think Lofton could really tap into that because we haven't even seen one of those just big posts to CJ. We're going to see any post of anything unless you're talking about goal posts on the field goal attempt. Last game, but moving forward, I would like to see us test the middle of that field, especially, Ohio State likes to play a lot of 2-man under. They're going to play 2 safeties over the top and play man because they think their corners are the best in the nation. They're pretty good.
That's like the Canes in 2001 with Randy Shannon. That's all we did.
Yeah, if you got those type of studs, like number one, he held so much. I used to talk so much trash about him, bro. I'm like, yo, dog, you can't cover, dog.
What's his name? Last
He had
name?
17.
Yeah.
He had number one.
What's his name?
Yeah,
Is
OG.
it
I can't
African?
remember.
Yeah.
It's one of those. But he had like 17 penalties in coverage last year, and this year he's been. I guess they did the whole boxing glove old school trick to keep them boys off from grabbing. But yeah, he done stepped it up. they got some DBs, so we're gonna have to make him break some of those with some shots over the middle, because that's how you're gonna hit him. I like CJ Daniels one-on-one over anybody, just because I know he can make the craziest play you could ever think of. And it's not just the Notre Dame catch. I mean, that USF catch to me was even better. He could just make those plays.
Igby Nosen's his name. I don't want to disrespect him. I don't want to pull a Trey Zune on him. He's a good player. Igby Nosen, Davison Igby Nosen. He played last year and was kind of 50-50, go pro or come back. He ended up coming back. They got a lot of talented guys. I mean, Devin Sanchez doesn't start for them, but I remember seeing him at the same tournament I saw you, one of these battle tournaments, or was it OT?
No, that was OT7.
OT7, yeah. Dude, that guy was unbelievable. So they got some real players there with the Ohio State Buckeyes. What we see in here. Gambit says Danny doing back-to-back blue pill day. We're definitely going back-to-back. No blue pill needed, man. We're eating good, living good. So we're healthy as horses right here, getting ready for the playoffs. But the quarterback position, again, I talked about the wind right up top. Carson Beck, 14-20 for 100-something yards. I mean, the yards per completion was in the gutter there, but no interceptions. The touchdown, kind of a flip pass to Malley, not really a pass, but again, the 0 in the INT column. I think this guy's getting treated too negatively, not so much by Canes fans really, but like you listen to the commentators, are like, it's always Carson Beck, but Carson Beck, but this, when he's good, and he's this and that. I mean, this guy's 35-5 as a starter, and he's been playing in real programs the whole time. So like, I don't understand why people are so quick to add a negative to Beck when he's winning games at a rate that is pretty unusual.
Yeah, I mean, the only time I ever sided with some negativity towards Beck, that was still my quarterback, was the Louisville game.
Oh yeah,
so like, but other than that, like, you can't put anything on Beck's plate. He's done a good job. He's got us in the right place. He's got us in the right runs. A lot of people don't understand that it's the quarterback's job. The offensive line is great, but he's the one who tells them who to pick up. So he's doing a very good job because the pass protection is in line. So I just want you to understand. Yes, he did not, Carson Beck is not responsible for, CC being the best tackle in America, but he's responsible for telling CC, hey, get that guy so he doesn't put me on my butt. So like, that's a very underrated aspect of having a senior quarterback like that, who's again 35-5 as a starter. He's seen it all. He's seen pretty much almost every blitz package you could throw at him. And our offensive line is never rattled. You don't really see free runners at Beck, and that's before you even get into his playing ability, that's an asset in itself. Getting us in the right run game, keeping us out of pressure situations in the passing game, because you could diagnose colors and you have a hard count and you have those type of abilities. I mean, I thought we should have gave up completely on the pass. Once I saw the wind and stuff like that, I thought we should have had more carries. I was surprised it took so long to get Pringle in the game. It was like after halftime. Yeah. I thought this should have been a game where we handed the ball off to Mark Fletcher, Marty Brown. I was surprised Marty Brown didn't get carries. Like this, if this was me, I would have had my hat on backwards, blowing that whistle. It would have been inside run, like at practice, baby. Like, hell yeah, it would have been a green tree, baby, because I would have been handing that ball. Yeah, what? A-gap, and let that Fletcher stretch play, run in your head a couple times. I know Coach Dawson, he was waiting for somebody to ask him a question about the outside runs, because, he was calling them.
You hear what he said, though, in the post game? He's like, the biggest one we hit was that A-gap run. He goes, that was deep, but then he goes, after all that, the biggest one we hit was an A-gap run.
Yep, and it hit. Oh man, it was an awesome day. Awesome day, man. I'm surprised we didn't run the ball more. I'm not mad at Beck. I think he gets too much hate, but as long as he plays the way he's supposed to play next week, we win the game. And that's all you can ask for. I think Beck's played marvelously over the last stretch of the year, which is kind of how we got into the playoffs. So to come at Beck for this game is crazy, because Marcel Reed's turnovers were the difference in the game. The fumble, the 2 interceptions, Beck gave them the ball 0 times. So just off of that, a guy most people would say, oh, I'd take Marcel Reed. He's a dual threat this, he's a dual threat that. He's very limited in a lot of aspects of his game. Beck's not that limited.
Yeah, no question about it. And yeah, man, the Louisville game, look, he made some bad plays. We could say safely now. I mean, Elijah Lofton ran the wrong route on that last one, and that first pick. I watched a replay of it the other day because I was just trying to see kind of us at our low points to get ready for these playoffs. But that first interception against Louisville, that was maybe the best play I've seen from a linebacker at any point this season. I mean, there was some incredible plays by Louisville. Which look, Texas A&M is not a team that turns the ball over. Like they were one of the worst takeaway teams in the country. Now you're going against Caleb Downs and this Ohio State secondary, and they're better than anybody. So just in general, I haven't looked at their turnover stats, but I know they can do it, and they got some really talented dudes. So a lot of pressure on Beck going into this game.
Yeah, of course, because you're going to be looking at him like, hey, that defense is legit. So if we don't win, it's on you. That means the offense didn't do his job, because I think the whole Canes fans have known, we were quietly optimistic going into the year that anything was going to be better than what happened last year, right? Which, how could it be worse? You knock on some wood, but, hey, how could it be worse than last year? But after the first couple of games, we were like, oh, like, yo, like these boys tackling. Like that first Notre Dame game, that Jeremiah Love 10 carries, 33 yards. Like, and he's a dude. And we're like, yeah, like, okay, like this is tackling. It's just over the course of the year, just seeing the defense just run, hit, tackle, and just not really blow assignments. It's been crazy.
I gotta say, you're just talking about the numbers and some of the, Fletcher only getting 17 carries and stuff. I mean, I don't think we had that many plays in this game. I'm looking at the numbers, and these can't be right, but it says we had 21 attempts and 28 rushing attempts, but 20 pass attempts, I'm sorry, and 28 rushing attempps. That's what, 49?
That seems about right, to be honest with you. I would say we're probably 50 to 60 plays.
I mean, if you look at the worst team in the country in plays per game this year, I thought 136th. It's Kent State with 59.9. So basically 60 plays per game is the worst in the bottom worst, like of the whole FBS. I mean, that is nothing. 50 plays?
Yeah, but it's just the way it went though, because it was mostly run plays, so the clock is running. So I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if that's close to accurate. I don't know if it'd be exactly 49, but it was literally so much run plays. We had one play that went down to the 2-minute warning. Like it went down like 2 plays, boom, like there goes like a minute 30 seconds off, and then we just let it ride to the 2-minute warning. Like that clock was rolling.
Yeah, no, listen, and again, I'm in disbelief, but the numbers are what they are. It just shows you just how slow this game was, man. As far as the way we're getting down, Miami. You look at the stats. Miami 6th in time of possession. Texas A&M 14th. You know who ranks ahead of Miami time of possession? Ohio State. So that might be a game that there's not a lot of plays going on, and it's really about making them count. Because if you look at Ohio State's offense, I'm just pulling up their scoring offense. I don't think their scoring offense is particularly prolific. Let me see where they're at right here. Ohio State, yeah, 22nd in the country, 32 points per game, which I mean, that's good, but it's not elite. I think part of it is play defense, slow games, and then boom, they're hitting big plays when they do to Carnell Tate and Jeremiah Smith. So we're not talking. It's not going to be one of those games that's up and down, trading scores. Like, yeah, we're down, but the pace of play is going to give us a lot of opportunities to catch up. Like when we play USF or one of these teams, this is going to be like a few plays that decide this one.
Yeah, playoff football. That's what it's going to be, and that's where you got to win in the trenches, because then the time's in your hands.
Yeah, and look, that's the good thing about what Miami brings to the table here in the trenches. So just before we're going to have time to talk about Ohio State, hopefully get you back on there before then. We got 11 days. I know you're going to be with the 3 Live Canes, as always, every Wednesday night, which, if you're not checking that one out, you got to be checking that out every Wednesday night. Check out Stevo on Twitter, 365 Canes Football. Got to figure out how to get around these copyrights on some of these videos, man, because they're coming after you. I've never seen them come after you like that before.
Yeah, but it's all right. I just need to get a faster All-22 plug, because it takes them a little long. It takes almost a week now to get that uploaded. It used to be Monday, so I'm just going to divert to another plug.
Black market, man. A lot of stuff's getting legalized, but that all 22 black market, man, is still thriving. You know, people.
Yeah, you finally got on Twitter. He'll send you a Google Drive.
I mean, I own a company that does this, man. I pay for it. It's still like it's impossible to find. You got to like know people, man. It's crazy this all 22 for college and what they do with it. But yeah, listen, I'm with you. But look, year 4, Mario Cristobal. What do you see with this program? Obviously, everybody's happy, so it's kind of a softball question. But just for you, like with the good and the bad, and just what you might have expected going in, like what surprised you? And what maybe is what you expected as far as Mario getting to this point?
Just to stick to the question, and I'll do like an overall view of, what I think the program sits year 4. I mean, what I expected was the offensive line to be way better than what it was previously, and that's been checked. Outside of year 1, the offensive line has been good, if not one of the better units in the country, definitely one of the best units in the ACC for sure. Last year, I think it was probably, a little bit better. Maybe even the year before that year with Matt Lee, might have been the top offensive line under this regime so far. But depth there has been compiling. So what I thought was going to happen with Coach Mirabal and Coach Mario is exactly what happened. The offensive line has played extremely well in the run game and in pass protection. What surprised me the most, honestly, it's 2 things, honestly, but mostly what surprises me is maybe just the approach to the trick plays. Like I can't believe Coach Mario let Coach Dawson in a playoff game on his first 15 have 3 trick plays. That's probably the biggest surprise of my life, to be honest with you, to script like 3 trick plays like on your first 15. Like, that's crazy. That's just the freshest surprise I've had. There's probably a better surprise I could have answered with, but I mean, I could not believe how much trickery Coach Mario signed off on, and he probably wouldn't have did that 10 weeks ago.
And then overall, just where the program is here now as we get into year 4. I mean, look, we're in the playoffs, still playing December 21st, meaningful football. So the positives are kind of obvious, but just when you see the Miami Hurricanes, how old are you right now?
I'm 30.
Yes, you really have not seen Miami be good, right? I mean, how old were you in 2001? You were a little
6. Yeah, I was watching the game, and then I watched it. I remember the second one, the one we got robbed, worse, more than I remember the 2001.
Yeah, but you weren't like breaking down option routes in your crib. I guess 6 you're not in the crib, in your playroom little thing, your little play mat. You weren't writing out the option routes, were you?
Nah, not at that level yet. I was just sitting there not talking, and then somebody tried to talk to me. Yo, shut up! I'm watching.
But man, I mean, so you have not seen us do anything really, as far as in real time.
2017 was it for me. Yeah.
And that 2017, now that we've seen what it really looks like, I mean, this team would have beaten the brakes off to 2017. Oh, you know what? That defense was good, and Malik was a clutch quarterback. I'm not gonna say it would have been a blowout, but it's a much more complete team.
I know Carson Beck wouldn't want to play them boys. What? That D line was crazy. I would.
Yeah, this offensive line's pretty good too.
Yeah,
a little better than what they had on their side. That would be the big difference. I think that I couldn't tell you their offense. I mean, that Casey McDermott was a good player. Played in the pros. Tyrese St. Louis, good player. They're good players, but these guys are next level.
No, we got multiple NFL guys.
But so you haven't seen it, right? We're getting sidetracked. I'm sorry, but like you haven't seen it really look like this. So just you as a Canes fan, who's I mean, as youthful as you are on the football field, I know you're not a young buck anymore. So like being 30 years old and seeing the Canes playing like this, tell me about just what it's been like for you.
I mean, personally, this was the biggest moment of my Cane fandom. It was crazy just getting in, but then just my whole family was going crazy. Mom's crying. Like, it means so much for the community. We've been saying it, like the outside world always wants to throw that "you is back" in our face all the time. And to go out there and just see the trajectory of this program. Okay, 5-7, 7-6, 10-3, 11-2, and still to be determined. I mean, you've taken steps every season when it comes to, roster abilities. Rosters taking steps every season. Facilities are taking steps every season. NIL and revenue share commitments are taking steps every season. Now thanks to Florida State and Clemson suing the ACC for us, now we're getting more money. I mean, it's just so much things are going up. It's just this is exactly what we envisioned when Coach Mario came here. Just every season something has gotten better. We fixed every issue. We had receiver issues. We don't have those anymore. We had defensive back issues. We definitely don't have those anymore. We had offensive line issues. We don't have that anymore. We had linebacker issues. I don't think we have linebacker issues anymore. We had D-line issues. We definitely don't have D-line issues no more. I mean, we just really don't have any glaring weaknesses. There's not something you could point at on this roster and be like, damn, that's a glaring weakness right now. Like, we have dudes and we have backups. Like, we have depth at this, at multiple positions. So I just want to say, for my overview, just watching Coach Cristobal build this program, didn't take the shortcuts. He built it from the ground up. And I think when you build it that way, you're not just playing the Florida State Band-Aid game with the portal. And if you hit, you hit. And if you don't, there goes your entire season. He built it internally from the ground up, brick by brick. So as a Canes fan, I just want to appreciate him for taking that heat that's going to come with building it brick by brick. Because we were, not me, because I was never really crazy after Mario, but people were after him after 5-7 and 7-6. Even last year with how the defensive went, and they're like, oh, this is another defensive coordinator. Oh, this is another coordinator. Like, there was some legitimate things that, even as the most bias of Canes fans, you got to just shake your head at, and just nod quietly and just not entertain it, but just not acknowledge it. But for him to just strike and just, a straight home run with Heatherman and get this program where it needs to be. I mean, I'm just super happy. And it's just seeing all these kids from South Florida on the roster, seeing the national kids coming in. Like, we got dudes coming in from everywhere. I mean, this program is just not going anywhere. The high school recruiting is going to be amazing. We're going to sprinkle in portal big name guys. I'm just super happy. I could ramble on forever what Coach Cristobal's done with this program. Just year 4, competing, like legit competing for national title. We're in the Cotton Bowl next week. Like, we're just on New Year's. We're used to watching Ohio State and like Clemson or all these other teams playing on New Year's. Like, our season's over by then. Or we're waiting for some terrible game right after Christmas. And just to like be in that game, my girl was like, damn, so what are the plans? I'm like, babe, there is no plans on New Year's Eve. Like, you're not doing anything. We not doing anything. Nah, the ball's gonna drop. What are we gonna do?
Celebrate. You be celebrating that.
Yeah, like I had to break it down to her, broke a little heart. But yeah, there's nothing going on New Year's.
No, you don't. The truth is, though, you're going to be celebrating when that ball drops. It'll be fresh celebration at that point, and that night's going to be crazy. Because we'll be celebrating the Canes beating the Buckeyes, man. So she's going to get more than she bargained for on New Year's. I know it's not going to be the traditional party situation, but it's going to be a fun new year, man, with the program where it is. By the way, I want to get back to this. Yeah, BJ Day says, shout out to Mark Gray for getting the ball rolling at UM with the IPF, et cetera, 100%. And I was, I compared 17 to 25. 17 was awesome, man. A lot of NFL players, a lot of great players. Did make the NFL, but really helped the Hurricanes. I mean, those guys made a lot of new fans. Shout out to 2017. I'm just saying, these guys,
still got some
team right here
league from there. We got DJ Dallas, Mike Jack.
Yeah,
it had some league guys for sure.
Our defense had a ton. There's some on our offense as well. Bryce Barrios still playing the tight end. Herndon was out there, but man, this team right now is just this is a heavyweight team. This is a game you go in any game and you're not going to feel. I mean, look at Ohio State, number 1 team in the country, most of the year, defending champs. I'm not walking. Not that I'm going to be walking. I'll be sitting in the stands, but the team is not walking into that game, and you're saying we're in trouble. I mean, this is a heavyweight bout, and we got guys that can punch.
This isn't 2021 me lying to you and telling you we're physically ready to play Alabama. Like, nah, we're gonna walk in there with the dudes. I don't have to sit in this camera and let my fandom let me lie to y'all and say, but if this goes right, we got the type of roster where we can win when things go wrong. That's the point. Like, things did not go right for us offensively versus Texas A&M. Obviously, a lot of stuff you can control weather-wise, but we just put the ball in Mark Fletcher's hand and just played physical defensively and offensively. Things weren't clicking right in the passing game. We were still able to win. So it's just, we could walk in anywhere. No team puts fear in my heart. The days where all the 5 stars and top end 4 stars were sitting on 3 teams in the playoffs, and so everybody else was an underdog, is over. That talent is spread throughout college football. We could walk in and play anybody in the country. There's nobody who can just out physical us. There's nobody who could say, oh, we have better weapons. There's nobody who can say, oh, your defensive backfield isn't as good as our defensive backfield. Nobody can say, oh, your offensive line can't handle our defensive line. It's just, oh, you can't run the ball. You're not physical enough against us. All that is you don't want to hear it. Like, I don't want to hear it. There's not one team in the country that could stop us from doing something we want to do.
There's right here. Christian Bowles asking about, Fletcher and the pistol. You mentioned it. I believe maybe 160 of his yards were from the pistol, something crazy. I mean, the vast majority came from the pistol formation. So having someone line up directly behind the quarterback as opposed to one side or the other, what difference does that make and what you're trying to do and maybe some of the advantages you have in terms of keeping them guessing?
All right, so guys, as you guys know, we've been running the inside zone a lot. So the quarterback's here right behind the center like usual, and the running back's either on his right side or left side. So he's either going like this. He's at a complete stop. He's not going downhill at all. So he's kind of pressing the line of scrimmage and then trying to make his hole, pick his hole, because either the offensive linemen are all slanting this way or they're all slanting this way. So either you're following the hole or you're waiting for that back cut, that back jump cut. But when you have that pistol set, you're looking at you're behind the court, you're looking at the defense on the right side, you're looking at the defense on the left side. As you're going downhill, you're watching the play develop so you could pick it faster. You're not going to be able to hit the hole as hard on the inside zone as you are with a 2-step head start on the pistol. That's just physics. You got a 2-step head start, but you get to pick and choose. And the holes are still closing in the same amount of time, but you hit and get through them faster because you had that head start. And Mark Fletcher is a big back. He's not that scat back who can get up like that, like Pringle does. The inside zones are great for Pringle because he can get that speed up quick. He's a lightning bottle. Well, Fletcher, that's why people think he's slow, but he get that 2 steps. He's running through arm tackles. He knocked the D tackle out the game, one-on-one, like hoping he's okay. That's a big time collision, but he knocked a 300-pounder out the game. That's how much physicality and how much speed he coming through that hole out that pistol. I mean, I'm not going to say I've been calling for it for a while. I have, but it makes sense. It makes sense, and it gives some good play action. And we've seen some wrinkles out of that. The quick play action stuff, that get stuff to Mally quick. But yeah, we need a little bit more of that. Imagine Pringle on some of those stretches from the pistol. With him would have gotten the head thing. But yeah, huge for Mark. I think that should be incorporated into the run game. Make Ohio State have to, play inside out.
Yeah, no, it's going to be interesting to see. Ohio State, obviously, that was where Fletcher was committed, right, for many, many months. So he's going to be talked about a lot in this game. He's going to have a big bullseye on him in the lead up to this game. So it's going to be interesting to see how he's used, whether Pringle gets more involved in this game and everything else. People ask, you were talking about Pringle earlier. I think one of the big issues with Pringle playing in that Texas A&M game is they were not getting home with just straight rush. It was the deception, getting Miami behind the sticks and third down, really confusing Miami a little bit with some of their pressures. And a guy like Pringle, that's going to be his weakness as a small true freshman, is dealing with some of these pressures and guys coming in, linebackers that he might not even spot, or if he does spot, might not be able to physically match with them. So I think that's why you saw Fletcher play so much more than Pringle, on top of the fact that Fletcher got going in the second half like he did and was just dominant running the football. But Stevo, I got to get you one of these right here. BUZZN, BUZZN. You said this one right here. This has got your name on it. Drink BUZZN.com. Use code FIRST35 for 35% off. You get them all over South Florida at Big Daddy's Liquors. 7.5 milligrams, real THC infused seltzer. Enjoy the holidays. All the hang, no hangover. All bubbles, no troubles. Waking up on Christmas morning, ready to wear your Malachi Tony jersey to watch some bowl games. I say FSU's playing on Christmas or Christmas Eve, but they're not even in a bowl, so they couldn't play a bowl game early enough. But you can watch everybody else with the BUZZN BUZZN. I'm gonna get you one of these when you come down to Miami here. Where we're celebrating this championship win. But listen, man, South Florida. I know I said earlier, I feel like it's generally down a little bit, but you point out some of the talent that's come up and made an impact. When you look really at this team, Mark Fletcher, right? Malachi Tony doing his thing. Armando Blunt, Ahmad Moten, Ruben Bain, Wesley Basaint, Bryce, Frederic,
Tamari.
Lucas, Damari Brown, Carter Davis. I know he was having some trouble with that Tempest yesterday, but that guy's been good all year for us. He's also a South Florida guy. So this really, when you really look at this team, there's a heavy South Florida flavor on Miami's best team in 20-something years.
Yeah, Pringles from Central Florida, Hellcat, from South Florida. It's definitely some guys from down here, and then thankfully we got some of them from the portal, and we got most of them in that high school. So we're getting the right ones. I think I talked about it a little earlier, but Coach Mario is getting the guys that love football down here. You might be rated a little higher. A lot of fans wanted us, to get guys that went elsewhere, but I think we made the right decisions with the guys we went after. Those are the kids who love football and want to be here. There's still some, not just guys that we just mentioned that have already established themselves, but there's guys with the potential to establish themselves on the roster. You got a Joshua Moore, a JoJo, which everybody in their mom was waiting for, things like that. So there's not just established playmakers from the South Florida level, but you also still have guys you're waiting for. They got high hopes for. So it's just littered with some talent.
So look, we got 11 days until Ohio State. Let the people know where they can find you, where they can find your insights. Number one, social media, YouTube, everywhere they can find you. And then, then also, what are you gonna be thinking about? Like, what's on your mind for these next 11 days? Like, what are you really watching, both from a review standpoint and a looking forward standpoint?
You could always find me at 365 Canes Football on pretty much every platform, and as well as here CanesInSight at 3 Live Canes every Wednesday. And I'll definitely be popping up before Ohio State here on CanesInSight. But what I'm really going to be looking forward to, I have all of Ohio State's games this year. I've been separating them. I've been looking through. I'm going to be looking at Michigan early in that game, a lot of Indiana tape probably. I don't know if I'm gonna ever drop that just because I probably just have some just for us to put on a live show, because we can't get YouTube for that because that's coming from a Google Drive file. So that's good all day on YouTube. They can't flag that. But I'm going to be looking at their line of scrimmage. I'm pretty familiar with a couple of their guys. Kenyatta Jackson, I'm very familiar with him. He played with Jamal Johnson down there at Chaminade. That was probably one of the best. And Alan Hay, that was probably one of the better defensive lines that I've seen from a South Florida team in a long time. So I'm very familiar with Kenyatta. He's an explosive, crazy pass rusher. So I'll be looking at their line of scrimmage and things like that. I'm be looking more into what Indiana did that made them get out of culture a little bit. I think Indiana snuffed out their run game, and I think some of the route concepts that they drew up were perfect. I think when you're going against a press heavy team like that, I think Indiana did a great job using Surratt to get a safety over to secure one-on-ones, like that slot fade to 80. That safety shot across the field because Surratt was streaking, and Mendoza knew the whole way where he was really going with that football. But, so I'm going to look into stuff like that, see some tendencies. We wanted that kid Matthews out of Ohio when he was at corner. I looked at his tape. We were so close to that kid that I almost made a review for him. That's how things were heating up with him. He had 17 interceptions as a senior. I was like, bro, if we get this kid, dog, he's starting as a freshman. That's back when our defensive back room was so yeah, they're definitely good. I'll be looking at them, some of their things. I think Caleb Downs is a little overrated, but not because he's bad or anything, but I just think him getting the Jim Thorpe award just leaves a bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah, pass coverage, I think maybe you can get him a little bit. He's definitely a box safety all the way, but he's a good player, man. They're good. I mean, it's gonna be a challenge to play those dudes. But listen, if you guys got to connect for this all 22, if you got the all 22 plug, send a signal message to Stevo, so he can reach out to you. I know we got to keep it undercover because that stuff is very
it's like gold.
I really don't know why they don't just sell it easy. Like, what are we doing here? I see random people get it. You have to know somebody. But
yeah,
we'll make some calls, man. We'll make some calls, man. This is Stevo 365. We got 2,200 on right now. We need that all 22, man.
Yeah, so I got right now from Ohio State. I have their Indiana game, their Michigan game, Rutgers game, UCLA, Purdue. I got pretty much all their games so far. So thankfully for that, I could definitely dive in. We could get some clips ready for this week. definitely I can show you how Mendoza dropped some dimes on him.
He was balling that. I mean, that back shoulder throw he did in that game was crazy too. The one to Surratt.
There's people that have natural feels of where the highest completion percentage possible for a pass, and Mendoza definitely has that. There's several times this year that ball is in the only place that his guy can get it and make a play. You think about that crazy Penn State catch at the back of the end zone, or that catch to Surratt, or even the Surratt touchdown in the Oregon game. That was just a beautifully placed ball. I mean, when it comes to just like accuracy to secure a catch, Mendoza's super impressive. I mean, I think that's what the NFL is gonna like most about him, is where his ball placement is, because it's just really effective.
Yeah, look, another guy can do this back, right? So I know the Weather Channel was out there yesterday and it was going crazy, but when he's in a nice controlled environment like a dome, right? Dallas Cowboys, he can throw those back shoulders too, and he can place the ball with the best of them. So it's going to be interesting to watch, man. Looking forward to your breakdowns. The absolute best in the business. Check him out. Stevo, 365 Canes Football. Get on Twitter. You heard all his plugs. He'll be on you touching grass tomorrow? You got some workouts tomorrow?
Actually, yeah, I got a couple. Had a great one at 8:30 this morning. Had to show my stuff. Got it just going through the route tree with my QB. Snapped a couple one handies. The kids got to me, man. I used to get killed as a kid going through. If you ever try to do a one hand, used to kill you, bro. Make you do push ups. It doesn't even matter if you catch it. It was up downs. I'm doing worms, all that. Now it's just so like, I can go out there and just grab it. I have to worry about, Coach Martin Sr. telling me he's gonna punch me in the neck next time I try.
You let your guys do the one-hander. You don't get on them.
Nah, but I always say the same thing. You put one hand out, you better catch it, or else you're gonna be sitting next to me. You're gonna be standing there next to me, waiting for that. Coach, can I get? Don't ask me. You put that one hand out. That was a conscious decision. You better make that play. I promote playmaking. I want my guys to go out there and make plays, but you put one hand out there, you better come down with it, because you're gonna be watching that next boy from the sideline play ball.
Listen, man, you want to watch the game from the eye in the sky with Stevo, you know where to find him. Again, like and subscribe to this show. Go Canes. There it is.